Welcome, everybody, to HR After Dark, and I'm Marcia.
And I'm Meghan, and we're joined today by Raymond Lee, founder and president of Careerminds. Thanks for joining us, Raymond.
Awesome. It's great to be here. It's good to see you, ladies.
You as well. Welcome to our show.
Well, first of all, I have to say I'm drinking a tequila seltzer grapefruit noonie, and I learned the term noonie from my daughter. It's not high noon. It's like, Dad, you're having a noonie. So
I've heard them called nooners.
Ooh.
So we have noonies, we have nooners. I love them all.
I'm gonna have to text her. Hold on one second.
Yeah, can you ask her the proper?
Yeah, exactly.
I have a whole different version about noon.
What do you have in your mug?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I do.
Well,
I
you know what? Guess what? It's dark for a reason, so you can't see inside of it. So
this is where you get all the good stories with these nooners.
Delicious. There you go. But I'll sip it.
Yeah.
So I'll take my time.
So let's shift gears from our high noons and whatever's in Marcia's mug. Unsure still. But I want to talk about career fulfillment today. But first, talk to us about Careerminds and your journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't be shy.
Well, first of all, it's HR After Dark, so I should, I guess, lead by saying I worked in HR for quite a long time before I woke up one day and decided I wanted to start a company. And Careerminds was born in 2008 in the recession. And we're an outplacement company. Started the company very different than what outplacement is in terms of like, how do you get career transition and help with the job search. And so I started in 2008 and was just super lucky over the years, just grew the business. Sold 2 years ago, and yeah, so I'm shifting my focus. Well, I still run the company today, but really shifting my focus to career fulfillment, which is what I know we're here to talk about.
Well, congratulations on selling. It's an entrepreneur's dream to sell, and it's hard to do that. You know, it's hard to give up ship, and now you're still Careerminds, but you're not the owner. How's that feel?
Oh my gosh, it was so hard. One of the things that was really important to me is in the sale of a company, I didn't want to have any layoffs. I wanted to find a home where we can continue the journey. And so the company that bought us, really wanted to continue to grow the company. They wanted me to continue to run it. And it felt really good to not have to tell employees that you're going to lose your job and we're going to continue the mission. So we did have some interest from companies where we'd have to like lay everyone off, and that just didn't feel good. So really just blessed about kind of where we are today. It's really cool.
Well, congratulations. It's a big deal. So
yeah, thank you.
Let me go a little rogue. What's it like having a boss?
Ooh.
Well, so I'm in Philadelphia. He's in Chicago. He is very hands off, and I guess when your boss trusts you, it makes it easy. But we're hitting our numbers. So the day that we stop hitting our numbers, I'm probably gonna get more phone calls. But for now, everything's good. Can't complain.
You should have a very good, successful year, because that's more in your alley for outplacement this year than the hiring side. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's so interesting because it's an election year. There's all kinds of weird things happen in the economy with interest rates, and if I feel like people are like, I just read this article that some of the younger generation are working 3 and 4 jobs just to make ends meet. I went to Acme the other day, which is the grocery store here. I couldn't believe how much food cost. Like I used to just go to the grocery. I mean, I hate to say this, but I go to the grocery and I'd like just buy shit, right? Like I wouldn't look at prices. Now I'm sort of like, this is like, $6 for like, whatever. I don't know. I just feel like people today are having it really tough with the cost of living.
It's funny you said that. I was getting at Wegmans and I like their coffee there. So I'm like, they have cherries. I love red cherries. And I had the bag. I'm like, just put the bag on it. Bill me. She's like, do you know that bag is $17 worth of cherries?
No.
I'm like, I don't need cherries that bad. And I'm going to put the bag right back.
Now.
And it was $17 just for a little bag.
Wild.
And I said, wow, that's ridiculous. So, but it's sort of sad, because of where we're at right now with inflation, even though they're trying to get that at 2%. But it's sort of like, I don't know. I have other opinions on that. It's a different podcast, but you know, it's interesting to see. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
So when you say you're shifting gears and focusing on career fulfillment, can you talk to our guest about what that means? I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I'd say about 4 years ago, I started going to speak at SHRM conferences and trying to figure out, you know, what is a topic that is an issue that we deal with in the workplace. And obviously we're in the career transition space for people who are unemployed, but for people who are in a job where they're doing work that doesn't like fulfill them, make them happy, you know, really trying to help people kind of think about, how do I make a change and where does it start? And I was really fortunate to work with SHRM on publishing a book called Clocking Out that was a couple years ago. And it was really designed around a model that is 4 behaviors. So choice, mindset, agility, and trust. And I think people get stuck in careers because of those 4 behaviors. They are afraid to make a choice because of the risks that are associated with change.
Totally agree.
They have a fixed mindset, so they tell themselves stories that you can't be anything better than what you are today. This is who I am, and I can't, you know, this is what the world's given me. When you recognize that it's time to pivot, you don't make a choice and make a change. And then the last one is trust, which is the hardest thing to do, is when you make a decision, whether you're going out on your own or trying to apply for a promotion, people tend to not do that because they don't trust themselves of knowing like what's on the other side. And so I just became really obsessed with this idea of trying to help people identify in work where you're stuck, you're not happy, you're hit a ceiling, and it's time to make a change. But the other thing is trying to not educate, but, you know, like coach HR people around how do you recognize that your employees are in that situation before they actually quit and you're doing an exit interview. You know, it's like having that conversations early on and then trying to figure out what can you do to their situation to help them, you know, see other opportunities and coach them to make those choices. So it's really kind of 2-phase.
Yeah.
The employee as well as HR working together.
How do you start though? Like, how do you say, hey, we're going to work with our employees and be like, this is how we start that? I mean, I look at it, there's so many ways you could start that process. If it's so, I'm sure you have it down to a pattern, but like, how do you start that process to find out?
Well, I would say, great question, Marcia. I would say just at the simplest form, it's 2 questions. So if you have an employee or even a friend, the first question you're asking is, when you go into work, what is the number one thing that keeps you going to that job every single day? Like, what is it about that job that fills you up, makes you excited, inspires you? And so you want to lean into that. But then the other thing is, what is the one thing that if you can change that you don't like in your job, whether it's the culture, the manager, the work, whatever the case may be, what is that one thing that if you can change that is causing anxiety, what is that one thing you would have? And that right there, those 2 questions, just begins the coaching. It uncovers so much information about, and then having the employee actually verbalize that, they're going to start answering questions and start getting confirmation of, oh, wow, I actually really do like that. Yeah. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel alive. But this one thing, if I can change that, and then if you're in HR and you can help the employee address that situation, maybe it's a part of a job that they don't like, so you can job tailor. You can actually change a job description. Gone are the days it's like, oh, here's the job description,
Absolutely.
here's 10 responsibilities, and hey, recruiter, we need to hire someone who matches all 10, and here are the things, we're going to interview, and if you're not a good candidate, you're not. let's job tailor it, and
Yep.
let's mold the job around you, and then give that thing that you don't like, we'll go give it to someone else where they actually like doing that task. And it's like we're in a skills economy now, not a job economy.
Totally
and so
agree.
Oh my gosh. And so it's a great question to ask. And so I'm just going to turn to my right. So, Megan, what things basically don't you like to do? No pressure.
Today is an interesting day. You asked me that.
right here, live on the air.
Yeah.
No, I think I keep thinking about what you said originally, Raymond, about like what draws you to your job every day. And for me, that was like people was the first thing that came to my mind was the people that work here and our clients and our friends and our partners and everybody. But I love my coworkers. And I think that is one of the number one for us, at least in recruitment, that people want to work with people they like and that they connect with. So for me, from a career fulfillment standpoint, like those people that I get to see every day and interact with every day is always top of mind for me. What I don't like to do, it's interesting because my job's changed a couple times throughout the years here, and there's not really anything. I think it's more of, as you grow within the company, everyone has like little side things that they don't like to do, but it's more about like what opportunities can you create for yourself that will bring you joy. So those things are always going to be a part of it for me at least. But I think I guess the people is just, I'm sure that's probably what you're seeing too, right? Like people bring other people joy.
Yeah. I think it's a challenge, though, because now we're in a hybrid world.
I know.
And
Completely agree.
there's less of that. And so it's trying to find ways to connect. We are a virtual company, and I get I'm very much drawn to people and get my energy from interacting with people in person. And so I find myself, volunteering on boards and go to a lot of conferences and associations and stuff like that to keep those relationships, in check. And we do bring in our employees for, quarterly meetups when we can, and that certainly helps. But I think it's
Definitely shifted.
there are technical aspects about, I think, work as well that, some people don't like administrative stuff, or, there are certain things that they probably don't like to do, which could potentially be replaced by automation. So, there's ways that companies can make investments to, do things differently.
I agree, but I think people, now more than ever, need to be really authenticity. Authenticity is a huge word about being true to yourself and what you really want to do. And don't just do it. Like I say to myself now when I go to all these events and everybody's like, you're everywhere. And I'm like, am I? Maybe it's more of the perception, but I say to myself, like, do I want to go because I want to go, or is someone expecting me to be there? And when you start asking that question, you realize, like, I really want to go because I want to learn, but I don't want to go just to be seen, because I'm like, I'm not there for that reason. My time is very valuable, and my family time is valuable. And so I'll ask that question around. I'm like, why am I here? Why do I want to go? What is priority for my life that I feel fulfilled? And I don't think a lot of people ask them that stuff. I don't know why they're even at work sometimes, because it's more like a job. And I want them to ask themselves, like, what do you want to get out of it? Why do you like it? I hate job descriptions. I just do. I would rather have somebody come on board and like, what am I going to do? I'm like, we're going to figure it out. But I could tell that you've got grit and you've got this. And I said, let's make it up. Let's get it going. Because in 2 years from now, that job description's probably changed.
Yeah.
And so why be so rigid around, I know for legal purposes and all, and this is HR After Dark, I can say
I
this now.
definitely don't have a job description.
You don't?
No, I don't want.
And I didn't give you one when we hired you. Yeah.
I really didn't. I didn't have one.
But we have people who, like, I need my job description. This is what I do. And I find that fascinating to me, because I wonder if it's the right fit for our company. Because I need people who are creative, innovative, are always thinking, getting stuff done, but don't be so guarded by your job description. Go outside your boundaries.
Yeah, I love that.
There's probably a lot of people, though, that in order for them to feel fulfilled in their career, they need order.
Oh, absolutely.
They need people to tell them what to do.
Totally.
And there are so many different types of people in the workforce. And so one of my questions for you is, what are your thoughts on the stay interview process? Like, do you think that is a way that employers can spend time really understanding their people before they leave?
It isn't working.
Yeah, I definitely like the stay interview, and I like the idea of it being called a stay interview because, if you're meeting with your employees and you genuinely want them to stay, you want to engage in conversations, informal dialogue about whether or not they're happy. And so those two questions can obviously go into different areas. The other thing that I do like that can get there is the start, stop, continue in terms of performance management. So if you're a manager, so the HR is kind of like you're asking those questions about whether or not you like your job and what's going well, what's not going well. But also I think for a manager who's having a conversation with their employee, kind of calling out what are the things that that you're doing well, like you are rewarding that person's performance. You want them to continue doing what you're doing. Hopefully, the things that are the things that you're doing well, are the things that you like to do, right? So there's alignment there from, the job, the skills, the things that you're doing well. The things that you want the manager wants you to stop doing are behaviors at work that are not productive. And so it's like, obviously you're not on your phone and stuff like that, but there may be things in work. It could be a report that you generate monthly, and Marcia's like, Meghan, we don't need that report anymore. It doesn't tell us anything, but it's been what I've been doing for the last 6 years, and so-and-so needs that report. Well, why? And then you're like, well, you know what? I don't like doing that report anyway. Oh, great. Well, let's stop doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like there's this sort of dichotomy of the fulfillment that you're uncovering in HR, where it's the start or where it's the what do you like, what don't you like? And then in terms of your productivity as an employee through start, stop, continue, you can uncover things that are going well, things that you agree, hey, we should probably stop doing this because it's not really productive. And then what are things that you can now that you stop doing those things, right, that you don't like to do, then it creates capacity where now you can start doing new things.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just freed up. So it's kind of like, so you asked this question about the stay interview. I love the idea of the start, stop, continue as a way to layer that on because you're evolving your job description essentially. Like I say job description, but your role in the work that you do. I think that's optimal performance management right there.
But I think people today they just don't, a lot of people don't do the extra. And they'll say to me, I worked my 40 hours this week. And I'm like, that's great, but where's the extra? Like, what else do you want to do? Where do you want to see? I want to see you, if you want to be promoted, what are you doing to take steps to be out there and get visible and say, hey, I have this idea, this is where we're going. I find because it's hybrid and they're not in every day, I call it getting cozy on the couch. And the couch basically keeps them from getting all those promotions because what happens is like, I'm so cozy here. People don't like leaving their homes. And it's getting worse. When it gets colder, people really don't like leaving their homes. And it gets rain a little bit. Like, it's raining today, can't come in. And you're sitting like, okay. But I'm like, how do you else get involved? Like, if you really want to promote yourself and get out there, don't be so stuck on the comfy couch. Because that, corporate America is going through a lot of change, a lot of right sizing, they call it. And it's keeping you quite busy, actually. And to me, I'm sitting like, how are you making yourself different? What are you doing at work to make yourself like, I'm adding value, I'm always adding this, I'm adding that. I don't know if everybody wants to do that anymore. I feel like they want to be fulfilled, they want to have that mission, but they don't always want to have that drive like we did. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, is the next generation of Zs, are they going to go for that? Or are they going to be more like, I got 3 jobs, I'm working over here for 20 hours, I'm working over here. And is that 40-hour work week going to go bye-bye?
Yeah, I think that's a great question in terms of, I have a sort of a different perspective on the cozy couch, which I love that, by the way. Working in a virtual company, we use Slack, and I'm not a believer in, if you're green, you're in. If you're not green, what are you doing? You're, whatever. I feel like it starts with the culture, and you really have to establish trust and accountability. And I think, and it's never perfect, but if employees feel like they own something, and it's, that's their role, and whatever's being measured is being measured, and if they're not performing, then there's a discussion there. And so I don't know. I think that I definitely feel like a younger generation, there are challenges, and work is changing. And yes, there are, the skills of tomorrow are very different than today.
Completely.
But I guess at the end of the day, it really boils down to what's inspiring your employees. Like, what is it you want to do? And I feel like we have to do a really good job at teasing that out of the interview and hire. Like, I believe you hire for the behaviors. Give me someone who is super motivated, doesn't have that philosophy that you described, and they want to learn, and then you teach them the technical stuff.
That's why I hired her on the spot. When
Yeah.
I first met her, I was at her like, holy tamale. And I was like, what are we going to be doing? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. And we did, and it's been a great ride ever since, but you just know it, and you see it, and you just want to say, let's get you moving, let's get you going there, which is nice. But it's hard, because I think a lot of people will say, the loyalty isn't there. Am I going to be taken care of? I work all so hard. And it's not so much that. Organizations change too. So sometimes you need a certain person at different levels of a company. And that is really, really hard. Instead, like the smaller the company, you're more visible. The larger the company, not as so visible. So how do you get yourself up there instead of getting comfy, cozy on that couch again? So you can get promoted and you feel like you're giving purpose.
Yeah.
Because I think life is so short. And I can't tell you how many people, especially my friends, well, it's too late to change your job. I'm like, it's never too late. It's never too late. And like, if you're not happy, you are killing yourself internally, and you don't even realize it. It's never too late to start over.
Yeah.
So we're coming to a close. Where can people go to find your book, Clocking Out?
Well, so two things I could share that I'm excited about. I did launch a podcast.
Woo!
Yay. And it's called Clocking Out.
Are you drinking Nooners?
Yeah, let
while
me take a toast to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And my
Cheers.
surprise drink, ching, ching.
I really got to figure out what's in that. I got
Well, you'll find out.
an admission.
I'm not
Yeah,
selling my speech.
published this book, Clocking Out. It's available wherever you can get books, Amazon. And
Congrats.
and it's about, thank you, and it's stories of people who have made the decision to clock out of their jobs or their career to do something different. And the podcast is an extension of that, where it's an interview of individuals who've, for a variety of reasons, were at some point in their life and realize, like you said, Marcia, I'm at this place where I'm not feeling fulfilled, and I'm making a change. And their stories, very different stories. They're not all, I work in corporate and I'm tired of corporate and I'm going out on my own. Those are unique scenarios, but there could be, you're in a job and you don't like the job, so you've made the decision to change it. Or maybe there's a health reasons that cause you to make a change. So I'm really excited about it, and it's an opportunity to meet great people and hear about their very amazing journeys.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Exciting.
And I have to give you credit, because there's a gnat in this room, and you're doing so good not to swat it.
Yeah.
So that was really impressive. I have to tell you how
Thank
you
you.
quietly did that.
I didn't know you
So-
were going in that direction. I didn't know.
Well, the stupid gnat won't go
I know,
away.
I
He
did
likes
have
us
to-
Do you
this
like
year.
that?
Ready
Yeah, I
to-
did.
Like, I've just
Ready to
invited him
roll.
into my world.
You did. I felt like that was so great.
I've been on calls before, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing
and
it.
everyone's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like,
It's going to
I'm
land
fine.
right on the end of my nose,
know,
and I'm just going to
exactly.
stare at it.
It's very fun.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
It's been my
And
pleasure.
I can't wait to listen
appreciate
to
it.
your podcast too, because
you.
I feel like anytime I need like a confidence boost or an inspiration, like I love stories, so I'm excited for that.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And keep on rocking out there and doing what you do best, because everybody loves Raymond. So.
Oh,
Everybody
For
loves
sure.
Raymond.
Exactly. It's a great show.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Good to see you.
You
Yeah,
too.
great to
All right.
see you, and thanks everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Join us on our next HR After Dark.